面包可以与你对话，面包是有生命的。我们取了一个名字叫 Breadtalk。
In just 11 years, Breadtalk has completely transformed the bakery industry and captivated the hearts and minds of millions around the world. Our distinctive designer bakery boutique concept, featuring creative bakery creations, continues to set new trends in 16 countries. From our signature floss bun to thousands of delicious creations, each has been given its very own personality and story to tell. The Breadtalk Group has a total of 7 brands in our portfolio. Brands include Toastbox, a modern rustic cafe that has revitalized the Nanyang traditions of freshly brewed Nanyang coffee and homemade thick toast. Food Republic, a revolutionary popular dining concept that unites the best of hawker fare and the comforts of restaurant dining. The Icing Room, a unique DIY cake decoration concept, providing the perfect creative platform through its cake personalization service. Ramen Play, a collaborative ramen shop concept by Breadtalk Group and Japanese Sanpo Company. In addition, the Breadtalk Group also manages the renowned Din Tai Fung, a Michelin star Taiwanese restaurant famous for its signature steamed pork dumplings. And Carl's Jr. in China, a premium American hamburger restaurant with a 70-year history.
The core business of the Breadtalk Group comes from our bakery division. For this presentation, I would introduce the bakery division with respect to our 3 C's: competitors, customers, and competencies. Breadtalk's direct competitors are both locals and overseas. Local competitors are a mix of a few large chains of bakeries such as Four Leaves or Deli Friends and small mom-and-pop neighborhood artisanal bakeries. Our overseas competitors are primarily Paris Baguette, 85C, and Holyland. Despite the competition, we differentiate ourselves by our customers and competencies. We aim to engage customers in a middle class who value quality, convenience, and a strong brand image. This is the reason why we actively seek shopping malls or downtown retail spaces and future modernistic storefronts in order to create the trendy experience. To highlight our key competencies, firstly, we're proud to say that we have a very distinct and creative branding strategy. And how have we achieved this? Through 4 generations of retail renovation. Breadtalk uses a signature open kitchen concept that allows consumers to view the bakers in action while the breads display in elegant clear-glass boxes. A second competency we find to be key to our success is a strong partnership network in Asia that we have been able to build through the years. Breadtalk is present in 16 different countries across Asia and Middle East. In addition, we have established our global network of state managers, procurement, supply chain, and international partners that contribute towards our competitive edge in expanding these strategic locations. Last but not least, our ability to negotiate from prime locations to shopping malls has been improving over the last years thanks to the constant widening of Breadtalk's portfolio and our increasing demand at these places.
Using the Porter's 5 forces, I will analyze the attractiveness of the food industry that Breadtalk operates in. This industry has a relatively low bargaining power with suppliers. There are a large number of existing suppliers already, and the raw materials needed, such as flour, wheat, eggs, they don't vary much in quality or price from supplier to supplier due to the global commodity pricing. In terms of new entrants, the industry faces a medium-high threat as there are relatively low barriers to entry. The initial capital expenditure for equipment and R&D is relatively low. However, for new entrants, there are limited strategic locations for stores because the big players all want the prime locations with high traffic areas, which are often more expensive to lease. Customers in this industry have a high buying power. With such high variety and readily available substitutes, customers can exercise very low switching costs. Therefore, they can be very price sensitive. There is a high threat of substitution in the industry. Instead of bread, an individual could buy similar local snacks or toast, or waffles, or pastries for similar prices. Lastly, there is an intense rivalry between competitors. From bakery to bakery, it might be harder to differentiate products, so companies must rely on innovation, branding, product variety to attract customers. It is also important to note that competitors can enter and exit anytime, especially with neighborhood shops. Thus, having a prime location is key for the success of the shop in order to draw more foot traffic into the bakery.
We have already heard from our VP and analysts that Breadtalk is in the hands of very experienced leadership who have been able to incorporate both technological innovation and product innovation to recreate the traditional char siu bao bola bao experience. This has helped them rise in popularity in Singapore, capturing much of the middle class to higher end segment. We will also hear from our consultants later on about the opportunities for further growth, but what I want to focus on is some of the challenges faced by both Breadtalk internally and externally. The first challenge comes from the fact that the Singapore market has already been very saturated. Over the past 5 financial years from 2013, the growth rate of Breadtalk bakeries in China is at 172%, while that of Singapore is only at 130%, growing at a decreasing rate in the past 2 years. On top of that, 50% of revenue from Breadtalk Group were attributed to the Singapore market in 2013. There's clearly a need for Breadtalk to devote more resources beyond Singapore. The second challenge is balancing growth and quality control overseas. There have been several instances just last year where products in China were reported to have been made with expired raw ingredients. While Singapore has extremely strict food requirements, there remains a challenge for Breadtalk to regulate all its franchisees to meet the same standards in the Chinese markets. The third challenge comes from the threat of local competition. The bakery industry in most Southeast Asian countries is a highly saturated and fragmented market. Many customers have their local preferences passed down from their grandparents or since childhood, and Breadtalk's innovative, modern, almost mass production type approach may not appeal to everyone. Now our consultants Ting Ben and Moria will address these challenges in their recommendation.
Firstly, we propose Breadtalk to continue deepening its presence in markets it currently operates in, especially in China, having already established itself in 57 cities in this country with only an average of 6 bakeries per city. There remains a lot of room for growth by leveraging on the relationships it has established in China. In order to support a healthy growth, Breadtalk ought to set up a system in managing the quality of franchises. Currently, 60% of the outlets are franchised and 40% are owned by the company. To ensure the quality of its products are maintained, Breadtalk should set up main franchise support offices in main cities like Beijing and Guangzhou to coordinate the efforts of franchising while having regional offices in other cities like Chengdu. We believe that this and satellite strategy would result in effective franchise management and communication, maintain quality standards, and aid in cost reduction. In terms of location, since our primary target is young middle-class white-collar consumers, Breadtalk could locate outlets in central business districts, larger community malls, and subway stations where working professionals can easily access. On top of that, it's worthwhile to mention that the Chinese and Singaporean governments have signed the China-Singapore Free Trade Agreement in 2008 that increases the competitiveness of Singapore's business in China. The external political factor could definitely facilitate Breadtalk's expansion into China.
Thank you, Mara. Secondly, Breadtalk could make efforts on localization to strengthen its position among the local consumers. Modifying menus to satisfy local needs on Chinese traditional festivals such as Mid-Autumn Festival, Dragon Boat Festival, and Chinese New Year will help build its reputation and strengthen its brand presence. We recommend Breadtalk to offer specialty items unique in different parts of Asia in order to cater to different local cultures. For instance, pineapple signifies prosperity and fortune for Chinese, and Breadtalk could consider that as an ingredient for its buns. The Chinese would certainly love to have a bite of prosperity and fortune during Chinese New Year. We believe innovation remains a key for Breadtalk's strategy, especially in fast-moving markets such as China, where existing concepts can be copied by competitors easily. This means that Breadtalk has to constantly innovate and come up with new ideas, from its products to distribution channels. Breadtalk has been focusing on research and development by working with an international team of consultants on its flavors and product types. Moving forward, it should also start to establish itself as a leader in identifying and spearheading trends in food consumption. especially with more people seeking out healthier options such as organic or gluten-free bread. This will allow Breadtalk to further build on its brand name of quality food, especially for developing markets where food safety and allergies have always been a concern. Breadtalk should also tap on technology to increase its distribution channels through e-commerce, which has been growing rapidly globally and well received among the younger generation who are technologically advanced. Breadtalk has come so far based on its branding, and we believe it should continue doing so.